wil ek hê julle moet begin beklei met mekaar oor wie soek wat en daai is myne, nee daai is myne, ek soek daai en nee ek soek daai en gee my daai en nee ek gaan nie vir jou hierdie gee nie. Come on Jimmy's, drama queens, ek soek drama, action, let's make it happen.
Hey guys, let's check it out.
Lekker guys, it's Gunther here from Outdoorphoto, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about ISO and where it comes from and why it is such a noisy subject to talk about. So when we are looking at ISO is more towards the sensor and the sensitivity off of your sensor. Depending on the settings that you're setting it up on, you would typically be looking at high ISO, low ISOs. All the cameras have different ranges and all the different cameras handle noise differently. When you start looking at two different cameras like full frame and crop sensor. Now typically where crop sensors are a little bit more sensitive, full frame is more aimed towards your adults, if I can put it that way. Adults handle things, well the majority of adults, handle things a little bit better. If we get into a situation where you've got a studio and everybody's using your studio for their office meetings or private phone calls or even those breakaway cry sessions you get at work from time to time, it's typically my studio. But the one thing that nobody takes into consideration is how they treat the door. So also I have to be an adult about things, regardless of how sensitive I am about my door and the condition of my door and the handle being ripped out already. I have to deal with it. I have to make it a plan. It's what happens, it's part of life. So regardless whether the conditions or whatever the situation is, full frames just tend to have to deal with it. I mean, that's typically, you're out in the conditions, you don't know what's going to happen in your day. The last thing I thought was I'll have to carry this door around. But we make the best of it. So typically speaking, when we're looking at full frames, they just tend to handle low light handling so much better. Your high ISO levels don't have the same amount of noise, and especially chromatic noise, as crop sensors. The easiest example I can give you about crop sensors, typically speaking, you're looking at things like the kids are here for the school holidays. With the school holidays, they're eating sugar, playing PlayStation, it's chaos. It's all over the show, they're hyped, they're jacked on sugar, they're sensitive because they're little minds. It's chaos as much as you want. At best. I mean, look at it. Those little sensors are so hyped up. They're literally just trying to figure out who's going to be which color of pixel. Hey! Stop it! And we just have to deal with it as full frames.
That was tough. I mean, I heard somebody say bring your own door. Bring your eie deur. Apparently it's gear, not deer. But anyways, we've got our door back and we've settled down with the kids in the background, and it's typically the situation that you'll end up with the differences between crop sensor and full frame. We just discussed that and we tried to emulate the situation where your crop sensor is similar to the kids after a sugar party. They're hyped up, they're jacked on sugar, they're tired, and now they start fighting between who's pink, who's purple, who's blue, who's yellow, who's green. And you end up with what we call chromatic noise. Chromatic noise is one of your biggest issues that you'll come across. There are a couple of issues that ISO adds to the entire problem. The initial noise that people see in the images is what we call grain. So that's more like a black and white contrast. It's grain. It's that old film noir look or feel. That is not as much of a problem as chromatic noise. Chromatic noise is a destructive problem. What people tend to do is they make their images black and white. As soon as you make it black and white, you get the dullest, boring version of 50 Shades of Grey you can imagine. So it's not ironic, or it's not ideal in terms of what you want and what you are trying to hide. We are in 2025 as of now, and that means that there are actually huge differences in software development. All of a sudden, you've got software platforms like DxOP Raw, you've got Topaz, Lightroom and Photoshop. They all have an AID noise functionality in it. And the difference is that that actually adds to the value of your ISO and your camera's ISO handling is monumental. So whilst we can demonstrate it, it's again always going to come back to one major factor: sharpness. So whilst we're looking at the sharpness factor in ISO, it's typically like sitting in a quiet room when you're shooting at 100 ISO. The pixels are focusing on a specific job. They are set to its least sensitive. It's doing its job. It's not involved in anything around it or its surroundings or whatever. Completely a different story versus a crowded room. As soon as you start pushing up that ISO, your lighting conditions are going to change. You get so much more light that's happening. And there's just so much more that's happening in the background. It's typical like noise that's coming into the image. So imagine just so much going on around you, and you're battling, the information is just bleeding across, and you're just battling to get this point across. So as you start turning down your ISO, when you start dialing it down slightly, you go down from 12,800 to 6,400, 3,200, all the way down. The less there is, the lower your ISO is, the sharper your image quality is going to be. There are other factors that are going to come in. You obviously need to balance the other two exposure factors out, your shutter speed and your aperture. Depending on the equipment, depending on the genre that you're shooting, depending on a variety of variables, you have this situation where you have to control it somehow. And eventually ISO becomes that middle child, if I can call it that. It's the poor one that just needs to fit in. Regardless of what's happening, wherever, I always tell people, ISO as high as necessary, as low as possible. So for the sharpest image quality, you're going to go as low as possible. But sometimes, depending on the lenses and the equipment and the genre that you're shooting and the settings that you have to shoot at, you sometimes just have no other option to push up that ISO. Guys, I hope this tutorial's helped out, and I hope it's explained to you exactly what problems I'm experiencing with my door and the ISO levels in this busy office. I hope you guys hit the like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things, hit a comment down below and tell us what you think about this tutorial. And we'll try and hit all the other exposure factors and bring these videos straight to you. Thank you for watching, guys. Hit the little videos on this side. Check this one out. This one is one of my favorites, but check that one out as well. See you guys soon. Cheers.